In late August, USC will embark on their most important season arguably ever. With a generational talent at quarterback and 2023 being SC's last year in the Pac-12, USC absolutely has to take advantage of all that is in their favor and at the very least contend for a national championship. So in today's video, I'll tell you why things line up for SC to make a legitimate title run, what SC must do to hit those goals, as well as discuss possible ramifications if they're not achieved. All of that and more coming up next. What's up guys, my name is G Greens and thank you so much for stopping by the channel today. But before we get into it, I do want to thank today's sponsor, SeatGeek. SeatGeek is your one-stop shop for tickets, guys. They take tickets from all over the web and put them into one really easy to find place. They also grade every single ticket so you know if you're getting a fair deal or not. And to make things even better, SeatGeek is hooking my subscribers up with $20 off your first order when you use the promo code GGreens at checkout. That's with 3 E's and 3 S's. So thank you again, SeatGeek, for being a sponsor. Okay, so for USC in 2023, what do we know at this point? We know that the best player in college football is going to be wearing number 13 in cardinal and gold, and we know that USC's defense has a lot to prove in the upcoming season. That's what we know. Now, I'm not going to worry about Caleb. I have seen some discussion about Caleb possibly regressing this year, but I am not worrying about Caleb Williams until he gives me a reason to worry. I'm personally expecting even greater play from him this year. USC cannot, and I mean cannot, waste Caleb Williams. So let's be honest guys, as much as I, and I'm sure all of you, would love to see Caleb come back for one more year at SC, that is not happening. He's going to be the first pick in the draft, so this is it. When you have a player of this caliber, in particular at the quarterback position, you have to push all your chips in and do everything you can to win a title. Not to mention, to go along with that generational quarterback, you also have the fact that it's SC's last year in the Pac-12. And while I do think that the Pac-12 is a deeper conference than the Big Ten, at least this year, USC is the cream of the crop in this conference. In the Big Ten, there's 2 other USC-type schools in Ohio State and Michigan. Things will undoubtedly get harder in 2024, so while we're still in the Pac-12, we have to win this conference. In my personal opinion, USC will be better than every team they line up against this year. Now, of course, injuries happen, unforeseen events can unfold and completely alter your outlook on the year, but that's not what I'm talking about. Now, having said that, USC's schedule in 2023 is difficult, no doubt, but compared to next year's, it's a cakewalk. So you have to take advantage of this while you still can. But looking at the actual team, we know the offense is going to be elite again. It's Lincoln Riley, it's Caleb Williams, we know what to expect there. But what's the one thing we've all heard over and over again this offseason? USC can't play defense. And last year, yeah, that was pretty much true. Now as SC fans, we all know that there is some context involved there with injuries, but I digress. Quite simply, the Trojan defense must be way better than it was last year if we are truly to compete for a national title. Plain and simple, cut and dry, black and white, whatever term you want to use there. And I'm not saying that the defense has to be elite. Look at how close we were to a CFP appearance last year, in year 1. We had 270-pound guys playing nose tackle. I mean, it was dire. And we were still 2 bad calls and 1 hamstring injury away from being 13-0. Think about that for a second. And then you take a look at the defensive additions made this offseason. Names like Bear Alexander, Mason Cobb, Keon Bars, Jack Sullivan. I could go on, but you get the point. In what world is this defense not better? I mean, I can't imagine what would have to go wrong for this unit to be worse or even the same as last year. And I mean absolutely nothing personal against the guys who played here last year. They're Trojans and they'll always be Trojans. But some of them were not even close to being Power 5 defenders, let alone national title contending defenders. So the personnel is going to be vastly improved this year, as it had to be. That was the clear step 1 for pushing all your chips in to win a national title with Caleb. You grab an elite future first round pick in Bear Alexander. You grab an absolute alien in former 5-star Anthony Lucas. You get proven veterans in former Arizona Wildcats Keon Bars and Christian Roland Wallace. They even added the best punter in the Pac-12 last year in former Arizona State Sun Devil Eddie Chaplichki. So both the defensive and special teams units should be greatly improved this year. But of course, the elephant in the room, you can't talk USC football in 2023 without mentioning Alex Grinch. Now I'll tell you, after going back and watching every game last year, Grinch did a much better job than I initially had thought. He was far from perfect, obviously, but given with what he had to work with last year, I do think it's a fair assumption that his unit will be much more capable to actually play the way he wants to this year. And I mean, look, to be completely honest, I think it's safe to assume that if USC does miss out on the playoffs, it won't be because of the offense. If the USC defense doesn't perform at a much higher level, Grinch is out. We all know this. And with the way we're landing defensive recruits, the last thing we need is to rock the boat right before we head into the Big Ten. But just from a personal standpoint, this year is massive for Alex Grinch. Think about his coaching career. I mean, if he has any hopes of being a big-time head coach one day, or just remaining as a big-time coordinator, he must have success this year. His only option is to turn this defense around. His career depends on it. And with a quarterback like Caleb, you only need the defense to be pretty good to truly compete for a national title. That's why this year is so important. USC has the quarterback. They have the offense. They don't have an easy schedule, but they have a doable schedule. But do they have the defense? That remains to be seen. But like I said earlier, you can't waste Caleb. You just can't. Things will only get harder from here, and in my opinion, this truly is the year for SC to break through and win a playoff game, and maybe, just maybe even win a national championship. A lot has to go right, but guys, I think it can be done. Alright guys, I do need to hear from you. What's your confidence level in SC both going to the playoff and actually winning a playoff game? Make sure to let me know down in the comments. But guys, that will do it for me today. If you did happen to enjoy this video, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you want to help support the channel in an even bigger way, you can do so over on my Patreon for only $1 a month. Thank you all so much for being here today. You're all awesome, and as always, take care and fight on.